Well, like most Canadians that had a loved one over in Afghanistan, it was my nephew's second tour. And I think it was December 5th. I heard that we had lost 4 of our troops in Afghanistan. The next day, I couldn't get a hold of my brother that night, so you get a little bit panicky. And the next morning, I grabbed my newspaper, put my feet up in my studio, and there on the front page was that we had lost 100 of our troops in Afghanistan. Even though I was very thankful that I didn't see my nephew on there, I realized that it was somebody's loved one. So I decided I wanted to do something special. I've done numerous paintings for our veterans in Ontario, hospitals and buses and Legion members, all in honor of our troops. But this one here, I've been an airbrush artist for 38 years. This one I knew had to last forever because these are our new veterans. And it certainly turned out the way I wanted. It's no longer just a painting, it's a monument and a tribute to these brave young men and women that died.
Being a past military member himself, it struck very hard to him that we had lost so many members, and wanted to make sure that these soldiers, these airmen, these seamen that we've lost over there, that they were remembered properly. So he went and picked himself up a 10-foot by 50-foot canvas, and he started with his first oil portrait ever.
I know every one of them on a first name basis. Sometimes my is like too much information for those megabytes I got up there, but when I'm with them, I call them by their first name, and there was no real order in this painting. It doesn't start from one to through. I think the first one I did was after the Dove, was Nicola Goddard, being the first woman killed in Canadian combat, and she's from the Alberta area. And then Kevin Kennedy and Bron Woodfield on either side, I have a little bit of a close relationship to family members. Then the first 4 killed in friendly fire. After that, it was like I walk back and forth in my studio. I have a huge, long table with every one of them on there, all framed. When the D&D gives me the photo, I frame them up and make it very professional. And then it's like they call me. It's my turn. So there was no order after that.
As you can see on the bottom right-hand corner, there's still the last 2 members that we unfortunately just lost. He's still working on that as we speak today. Hopefully we don't lose any more. If we do, you can guarantee they will be added onto this mural, so we do have this lasting legacy for all Canadians to show their respects for our military members.
When you see the faces of our Canadians, we've been on the road now for 3.5 months, and looking into the eyes of those Canadians, you really do know that they're very very respectful to our military. One of the strongest messages that I have out there right now is it's about time that Canadians stepped up and showed the honor to these brave young men and women that wear those uniforms every day so proudly. I mean, there was a segment after the Cold War in Vietnam that Canadians didn't appreciate our military at all. And I thought that's kind of disgusting when you figure they were there during the ice storm in Quebec, and they were there during the floods and the fires that we've had out here. So, and they're not just there protecting us. Right now, they're putting their life on the line for another country that they feel very strongly about. And speaking to an Afghanistan interpreter, I had a wonderful opportunity to find out firsthand. When I said to him, has this been worth it? Did these brave young men and women die in vain, or are we doing any good at all in Afghanistan? And he said that the Canadians are a different group. He said even though at first the kids were throwing rocks and sticks at them, now they're looking forward to meeting with the Canadian troops because they've always got, you know, candies and trinkets from home. But he said, you look into our elders' eyes, you don't point a gun in their face. But he said, what you're doing in there, he said in his district alone, they have 30,000 young girls going to school that were never allowed to go to school. And the Canadians aren't just helping them build their schools up, they're standing there making sure these kids can go to school safely. And he said, you're helping our government, you're helping our military, and you're teaching our police right now. You're doing it properly. You're not just coming in, blasting the hell out of everything, trying to get rid of the Taliban and leaving. You are at least making sure we can take care of our own before you go home. So he said, please don't think they died in vain. So I thought very important message put across the country. It's certainly been a work of love, and it's almost like they're my buddies, and I'm trying to keep them alive. That's basically how I feel. That each one of these have a very special spot in my heart, because I've met with most of their families, probably about 70% of them right now, and it's the same thing over and over again. I've had tears running down my arms, from my shoulders, dripping off my fingers, and them thanking me for making sure they're not forgotten. It was very emotional. Had to be my most emotional painting, because these young men and women are very recent. A lot of the other paintings, you're doing a tribute to our veterans that have been around for 60 years after World War II, and 90 or 80 years after World War I. So these ones here, their parents are still alive. Their friends are still here. When you see the soldiers drop to their knees and cry openly and thank me for allowing them to look into their buddies' eyes and say goodbye, because they weren't there when they died, and when you see the family members thank me for keeping the memories of their children alive with a face, not just a number, it's made me very proud of what I've accomplished in this. They'll follow you anywhere on this stage. Their eyes will follow you everywhere, and that's one of the comments. Coming here to Red Deer yesterday, and they had all the school kids out front, and you think, do they really get it? But listen to the comments. A little one comes up and give me a hug and said, can I hug you? And I said, do you know somebody on the wall? And he just said, no, but it's so sad. And I thought, seeing kids coming out here, one of the schools had them pick a soldier and then do a story about it, a little essay, and then come down when Mr. Sofa gets here, you sit down and draw a picture. That was pretty special, and each one were doing their own. They had to find their soldier and paint them on.
It comes real, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does.
The message is being heard.
Mm-hmm. And we've literally seen thousands and thousands of people, and it's been pretty rewarding. Well, I'm hoping that it does become a memorial where people can respect and show their honor to these young men and women every day, and also to hope that Canadians do step up when they see a soldier, sailor, or air crew. Give them a handshake, pat them on the back, buy them a coffee. If you see somebody standing there in Tim Hortons, it won't hurt to spend $1.50 just to say thank you.